The Shadow Self, a security guard's psychological thriller. I was a retired Secret Service agent who had spent my career protecting some of the most powerful people in the country. I had seen it all, from assassination attempts to bomb scares, and had always remained cool under pressure. But now, as a security guard at a high-end apartment complex, I found myself facing a new kind of threat. I had thought that my days of danger were behind me, but it seemed that fate had other plans. I took the job as a security guard to have a more peaceful and relaxing life, but I soon realized that it was a lot more challenging than I had expected. I had to deal with rowdy tenants, break-ins, and other types of criminal activities. I tried to use my Secret Service training and experience to handle any situation that may arise, but it was different from what I was used to. I had to use a different approach, one that was less aggressive and more diplomatic. I found myself using my verbal de-escalation techniques more often than my self-defense skills. It took a while, but I adjusted. A couple months after I settled into my new role, I started to notice a small figure following me from a distance. At first, I thought it was just a trick of the light or my imagination, maybe a small animal. I tried to ignore it and go about my business, but the figure seemed to be getting closer and more persistent. It would appear in the corner of my eye, or in the reflection of a window. It was always shrouded in darkness, and I couldn't make out any features or details. It was just a small hooded figure, following my every move. I started to become more and more paranoid, constantly looking over my shoulder, and checking the surveillance cameras for any sign of the figure. I would spend hours scouring the footage, but it was always just out of frame or obscured by shadows. I tried to tell myself that it was just my imagination, but deep down I knew that it was real. I couldn't shake the feeling that it was somehow connected to me, a manifestation of who I was or who I would be. I knew that I had to find out what it was, and put an end to this obsession once and for all. But as I delved deeper into my investigation, I started to uncover a darker truth. I began to notice certain similarities between the figure and myself. It was always wearing the same type of clothes I would wear, and it seemed to have a similar build and posture as myself. I started to pay more attention to the figure's actions, and noticed that it would often mimic my own movements and gestures. I also realized that it would only appear when I was alone, or when I was in a vulnerable state of mind. It was as if it was feeding off of my fears and doubts, growing stronger with each passing day. I started to realize that maybe the figure was not a ghost, but it was a form of me, a version of myself, a reflection of the person I could become if I didn't change something about me. What I had been seeing was a version of me, a reflection of the darkness that lurked within me. I couldn't help but to wonder, what would this job make me become? I was horrified by this thought. I had to figure this out, and what it meant. The next time I saw the shadowy figure, I started hearing voices coming from within. To save the future, you must repair the past, a low voice kept whispering in my ear. I knew deep down that it was true. What did that mean? What did I do in my past? I realized that what I had been seeing was a reflection of myself. I was somehow not supposed to start this job. From that point on, I never saw my shadowy self or heard the voice again. It vanished. It was gone. I started to do some research on the building's history, and what I had discovered was unsettling. The building had a reputation for being cursed, with several security guards reporting strange occurrences and even permanently disappearing while on duty. Some even claimed to have seen ghostly figures roaming the halls before they disappeared. The building had a manifestation of dark energy that was present. The longer I stayed there, the more I noticed how the atmosphere of the building seemed to be affecting my personality and behavior. It was as if the building itself had a sinister force that was slowly consuming me and changing who I was. As I dug deeper into this strange phenomenon, I found out that there had been several gruesome crimes committed involving security guards in the past. It seemed that the building had a way of attracting the wrong kind of people, including criminals and those with ill intent. As I delved deeper into my investigation, I discovered a dark history of the apartment building. Not only had there been several gruesome crimes committed involving security guards in the past, but the building had a strange attraction to criminals and those with ill intent. Past tenants of the building all had a history of criminal activity, ranging from drugs and human trafficking to murder. It was as if the building had a dark energy that attracted the wrong kind of people and brought out the worst in them. It was no wonder that the spirits of the past were still haunting the building, trapped in a cycle of violence and crime. I knew that I had to get out of there before it was too late. The longer I stayed in the building, the more I felt its dark energy consuming me. I was afraid that if I didn't leave soon, the spirits that haunted the building would overtake me, just like they had with the other security guards before me. I couldn't let the building's dark energy consume me and turn me into another victim of its dark past. But I knew I had to get to the bottom of this story. As I began to investigate some of the current tenants, I started to realize just how deep-rooted the building's dark energy truly was. Most had the same criminal records as the past tenants. Others had stories of strange occurrences and eerie experiences, from ghostly sightings to inexplicable noises. Some had even reported feeling a sense of dread or unease whenever they were in the building. It was clear that the building had a toxic energy that was affecting not only the security guards but also the tenants. Many of them had been living there for years, trapped in a cycle of fear and uncertainty. I knew I had to take action and warn the remaining tenants about the building's dangerous energy. I gathered all the evidence I had collected and presented it to the building management and local authorities. As I presented my findings to the building management, I was met with resistance. They did not believe in the supernatural, and saw my claims as nothing more than a wild conspiracy theory. They refused to believe that the building was capable of such malevolent energy and dismissed my warnings as the ravings of a paranoid security guard. They even went as far as to terminate my employment. I had no regrets, other than the fact that I had never been fired before. I had gotten out of the building before it was too late. I was forever grateful for the mysterious figure that had visited me, warning me about the dangers of the building. Even though I never fully figured out the mystery, I was content with the knowledge and experience I had gained, and that I had escaped the building's grasp and was able to retire for good this time.